Did you know that in 2019 alone, over 692,000 passengers in the US were denied boarding on their flights? That's right. We're not talking about a handful of passengers or even a few thousand. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people just like you and me who planned, packed, and showed up at the airport only to be told they wouldn't be getting on their flight. It's a staggering number, isn't it? And it's a clear indication of how widespread this issue is. Denied boarding is not an isolated incident that happens to a few unlucky travelers. Rather, it's a common occurrence that can affect anyone. Whether you're a frequent flyer or an occasional vacationer, you could be denied boarding. Yes, denied boarding is more common than you might think, and it could happen to you. Denied boarding or getting bumped off a flight is exactly what it sounds like. It's the situation where a passenger is not allowed to board an aircraft for their scheduled flight. There can be a myriad of reasons for this, from overbooking to late check-ins or even security concerns. Now, let's break it down. Overbooking is a common practice in the airline industry, where airlines sell more tickets than there are seats on the plane. They do this betting on the fact that some passengers won't show up. But when everyone does, some passengers are left grounded. Then there are those instances when you might arrive a tad bit late at the boarding gate, or perhaps there's an issue with your travel documents. In such cases, you may find yourself denied boarding. And it's important to note that denied boarding can affect anyone, whether you're a frequent flyer or a first-time traveler. So next time you're at the airport, remember, denied boarding can happen to anyone. Now, you might be wondering, why do passengers get denied boarding in the first place? Let's delve into the common reasons. The first and most prevalent one is overbooking. Airlines, in an attempt to ensure full flights, often sell more tickets than there are seats available. They bank on the fact that a certain percentage of passengers will no-show. However, when everyone turns up, some passengers unfortunately get the short end of the stick. Another common reason is late check-in. Yes, those check-in deadlines exist for a reason. If you're not at the gate on time, the airline can deny you boarding. The same goes for late arrivals at the boarding gate. If the doors are closed, they're closed, and your pleas may fall on deaf ears. Then, there are invalid travel documents. An expired passport or visa, or the absence of a necessary visa, can put a quick stop to your travel plans. Airlines are responsible for ensuring passengers have the correct documentation for their destination. If you don't, they have the right to deny you boarding. These scenarios often stir a cocktail of emotions, with frustration and disappointment being the most common. Imagine having planned for a vacation, packed your bags, arrived at the airport, only to be told you can't board the plane. It's a tough pill to swallow. Health and safety concerns also play their part. If you appear unfit to fly due to illness, intoxication, or disruptive behavior, you may be denied boarding. Airlines have strict policies to ensure the safety and comfort of all passengers, and these take precedence over individual circumstances. Lastly, a lesser-known reason is dress code violations. Yes, airlines do have a dress code, albeit a loose one. But if your attire is deemed inappropriate or offensive, you might be left standing at the gate. It can be a frustrating experience, but understanding why it happens can help you avoid it. Being aware of these reasons, you can take measures to ensure you're not the one left behind. So remember to arrive on time, check your travel documents, dress appropriately, and maintain decorum. Safe travels. If you ever find yourself denied boarding, it's crucial to know your rights. When the unexpected happens and you're left grounded, it's easy to feel powerless. But remember, as a passenger, you have rights enshrined in various airline policies and regulations. Most airlines operate under a contract of carriage, a legal agreement between you and the airline. This document outlines what the airline owes you in different scenarios, including denied boarding. It's a good idea to familiarize yourself with this contract, which is usually available on the airline's website. In many regions, including Europe and the United States, there are specific laws that protect passengers who are denied boarding against their will. In the European Union, for instance, Regulation EC No. 261/2004 provides for compensation and assistance to passengers in the event of denied boarding. This can range from meals and refreshments to accommodation and transportation costs, depending on the delay's length and the flight's distance. Similarly, in the United States, the Department of Transportation mandates that airlines must compensate passengers who are involuntarily bumped off flights. The amount of compensation depends on the length of delay and the price of your ticket. Rebooking is another right you have. If you are denied boarding, The airline must offer to rebook you on the next available flight. If this isn't suitable, you can request a refund or a different flight. It's worth noting that these rights apply only when you're denied boarding involuntarily, that is not due to your own actions such as arriving late or failing to comply with airline rules. Furthermore, remember that these rights and regulations can vary depending on the region and the airline, so it's important to do your research beforehand. In conclusion, if you're denied boarding, don't panic. You have rights, and the law is often on your side. Make sure to ask the airline for a written explanation and keep all your travel documents safe, as they could be crucial in any subsequent claims. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your passenger rights. Let's take a look at a real-life story of a passenger who successfully navigated being denied boarding. Meet Jane, a frequent flyer from Chicago. On a bustling Friday afternoon, Jane found herself denied boarding on her flight to New York due to overbooking. Frustrated and stranded, she remembered her rights as a passenger. Instead of letting the situation get the best of her, Jane calmly approached the airline staff. She presented her case, citing the airline's obligations under the Department of Transportation's rules on denied boarding. Jane was not only rebooked on the next available flight, but also received cash compensation for the inconvenience. In fact, the airline compensated her with 4 times the cost of her one-way ticket, as it took more than 4 hours for her to reach her final destination. As you can see, it's possible to turn a negative situation into a positive one with the right approach. So, what should you remember about denied boarding? Well, first and foremost, understand that denied boarding is not the end of the world. It's a situation that affects many travelers, and it's often due to common reasons such as overbooking or documentation issues. Now, if you find yourself in this situation, remember that you have rights. Airlines have policies and regulations in place to protect you. These may include compensation for your inconvenience and options to rebook you onto the next available flight. It's also important to learn from others. Take the real-life story we highlighted earlier. That passenger successfully navigated their denied boarding situation and received compensation. So here's your takeaway. Know your rights, be aware of the compensation you're entitled to, and stay calm. Handle the situation with grace. Remember, it's not about the setback, it's about the comeback. With these tips in mind, you'll be better prepared to handle any denied boarding situation. We hope you found this video helpful and informative. The world of air travel can be unpredictable, but knowing your rights and how to navigate challenging situations can make all the difference. If you've encountered a denied boarding situation, we'd love to hear your story. Sharing your experiences can help others in similar situations feel more prepared and less alone. If you have any questions or need further clarification on any points we've discussed, don't hesitate to drop a comment. We're here to help make your travel smoother and more enjoyable. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you found this video useful, we invite you to dive into our other travel-related videos. From packing tips to navigating airport security, we've got a wealth of information waiting for you. Remember, when it comes to travel, knowledge is your best ally. Safe travels, everyone!